The jungle doesn't announce itself. It simply arrives, vine by vine, root by root, until everything the world built and forgot belongs entirely to it. Somewhere deep inside a tropical rainforest, the air hangs thick with humidity, and insects thread through shafts of pale green light filtering down from a canopy that hasn't moved in hours. You walk through the undergrowth, and you begin to feel it before you see it. A change in the quality of the shadows. Something large is ahead. Something that does not belong here, and yet has been here long enough that the jungle has begun to accept it. And then you step through the last curtain of vegetation, and you see it. The unmistakable silhouette of a Boeing 747 resting on the jungle floor. Once, this aircraft flew above the clouds at 35,000 feet. Once, it carried hundreds of passengers across continents and time zones, humming at 900 kilometers per hour through the cold, thin air of the stratosphere, above the weather, above the noise, above everything. Its engines have been silent for years. Its windows are dark, many of them shattered, the frames bent slightly inward from the slow pressure of time. The fuselage is streaked with rust that runs in long vertical lines like the marks of something weeping. And moss has found every horizontal surface. And yet, someone looked at this forgotten machine and didn't see ruin. They saw raw material. They saw a question still open. Abandoned aircraft end up in different places. Some go to aircraft graveyards in the desert, where the dry air slows decay and the planes rest in long geometric rows like sleeping giants waiting for a war that never comes. Some are scrapped, stripped methodically for parts, melted down, erased from the physical world with a bureaucratic efficiency that leaves no trace of what they were. But occasionally, one ends up somewhere unexpected. This 747 didn't make it to retirement in an orderly way. It landed in the jungle, or was placed here, and the jungle began to absorb it. Nature is patient in a way that machines are not. It has all the time in the world, and it uses every second. The aircraft itself is worth pausing on before the work begins. A Boeing 747 is not a small object to forget. Its tail rises as high as a 6-story building. Its wingspan stretches almost 60 meters from tip to tip, wider than the Wright brothers' first flight was long. This was, when it entered service, the largest commercial aircraft in the world. It was engineered to carry over 400 people at a time, to cross entire oceans without stopping, to operate in conditions ranging from Arctic to equatorial. And somehow it ended up here, in the wet green silence of a jungle, with birds nesting in the gaps where the engine housings used to be. What you are about to see is what happens when someone decides to ask a different question. Not, what was this? But, what could this still become? This is the story of how one of the most iconic aircraft ever built, a machine that defined the age of mass air travel, that made the world smaller and the sky more crowded, was transformed into something no aircraft was ever designed to be. A home. An ultra-luxury mansion suspended in green silence, with every curve of its original structure reborn into something new. This is not a renovation. This is a resurrection. Step inside before the work begins and pay attention to what you find. The fuselage interior is dark, the kind of dark that has texture to it, that feels like it presses gently against you. The smell is wet metal and something older, something organic that has worked its way through every seal and joint over the years. The original airline seats are still in some sections, row after row of them, in that particular airline gray that has faded to something between ash and bone. Armrests cracked, tray tables frozen half open at strange angles. The overhead bins hang wide, like open hands. The carpet beneath your feet is soft in the wrong way, compressed by moisture into something that gives slightly with each step. The outer skin of the aircraft tells a slower story. Every surface holds a decade of weather in its texture. The paint, once white, once carrying the livery of a fleet, has become something between gray and parchment, with patches where the original color is almost visible underneath, like a word almost legible through a palimpsest. Panels have lifted at their edges where moisture worked beneath them over seasons. Sections of the fuselage have been breached, by branches, by time, by the patient mechanical pressure of roots that grow at the rate of a few centimeters per year and will move anything eventually. The landing gear is buried, sunk into the jungle floor so gradually, it now looks intentional. as if the aircraft simply decided one day to plant itself here and remain. Walk toward the cockpit, and the feeling changes. The flight deck sits behind a door that has warped in its frame. You have to push with your shoulder to open it. Inside, the instrument panels are still largely intact. Hundreds of gauges and switches and indicators, each one labeled in the precise typography of aerospace engineering, each one now frozen in the position it held when the aircraft last powered down. The pilot seats are still here, high-backed, adjustable, facing the windows through which the jungle now presses close. From the captain's seat, looking forward, you can still see the nose of the aircraft dropping away below you. The view is wrong. It should be sky. It is canopy. But you understand, sitting there, what it felt like to command this machine. The first challenge is not structural, it is psychological. You are standing in front of something that weighs over 170,000 kilograms and spans nearly 70 meters from nose to tail. You are looking at an object designed by aerospace engineers with tolerances measured in millimeters, built from materials chosen for performance at the edge of the atmosphere. And you are asking, can this become a place where someone wakes up in the morning and makes coffee and watches the light change through the windows? Can this become a place that feels like shelter? Like home? The answer requires a very particular kind of imagination, one that does not see what is there, but what is possible. The team that takes this project on arrives with blueprints, with engineering reports, with specialized equipment. They have done difficult projects before. And then they arrive at the aircraft, and they stand in the clearing, and they simply look at it for a while. Because this is the moment everything depends on. Every decision that will follow, every wall, every surface, every detail of the finished space, begins with this silence, with this looking. The jungle holds still around them. Somewhere above, a bird calls once, sharp and clear, and does not repeat. And then someone takes out a notebook and they begin. The clearing comes first. Before anything can be built, the land around the aircraft must be opened, carefully, with attention to root systems that have grown into and around the structure over years of undisturbed growth. Trees are removed only where they must be. The jungle is pulled back just enough to allow access, to allow light, to allow the machines and materials to reach the worksite. The aircraft emerges from the canopy slowly, the way a sculpture emerges from stone, not placed into a space, but revealed within one. By the time the clearing is finished, the 747 sits in a pool of filtered green light, dappled and shifting. And for the first time in years, it is fully visible. It looks in that light, almost expectant. Inside, the gutting begins. Every original airline fitting must come out. The seats, the overhead bins, the galley equipment, the lavatories, the wall panels, the insulation, the flooring. It is hours of careful, methodical work. What remains when it is done is the bare skeleton of the aircraft, the curved ribs of the fuselage, the structural frames that held everything in place, the long tubular volume that is, when stripped to its bones, something extraordinary. The curvature of a commercial fuselage is a precise engineering achievement, calculated for aerodynamic efficiency, for structural strength under the cyclical pressures of flight. But it is also, and this is what the architects understand, an architecture all its own. No one would design a room this shape. And that is exactly its power. There is a moment, somewhere in the middle of the gutting, when the interior is neither one thing nor the other. The seats are gone. The flooring is up. The panels are stripped. And what you are standing inside is just the metal body of the aircraft. The ribs curving overhead. The stringer lines running the length of the fuselage. The raw aluminum skin visible between the structural frames. It smells of old insulation and metal. The light comes in only through the window apertures, falling in dozens of oval pools across the bare floor. The architects spend time in the space like this, just walking it, before anything is decided. Because this emptied, stripped, essential form, is the thing they are actually designing with. The details arrive slowly, layer by layer, over weeks and months. Flooring laid in polished concrete that catches the filtered jungle light and holds it. Glass fitted into the original window apertures, some preserved at their original scale, some expanded into full panels that frame the surrounding trees like paintings. A kitchen installed where the front galley once stood. Marble surfaces, integrated appliances, the kind of quiet material luxury that exists to be touched rather than admired. Bathrooms positioned where the lavatories were. Deep soaking tubs set flush against the curved fuselage wall, so that you lie in water and look through curved glass at the canopy, pressing close outside. Every element in dialogue with the original structure. Nothing erasing it, only adding to it. The bedroom occupies the rear section of the main deck, where the fuselage begins its gentle taper toward the tail. The ceiling here is lower than at the center of the aircraft, and this turns out to be an advantage. It creates a quality of enclosure, of shelter, that the more open forward sections don't have in the same way. The bed is positioned along the central axis, so that when you lie down, you are looking directly up at the curve of the fuselage above you. The structural ribs are exposed and finished, cleaned, treated, painted a deep matte charcoal, so that the ceiling of the bedroom reads as exactly what it is, the inside of a flying machine. There is no pretending this is something else. That honesty is what makes it extraordinary. The upper deck, where first-class passengers once sat above the wing in a quieter, more rarefied section of the aircraft, becomes something different entirely. The staircase is preserved, its handrails refinished in brushed brass. At the top, the upper deck has been converted into a lounge, low seating in raw linen, a long table of live edge wood that follows the curve of the fuselage wall, and windows on both sides that look out into the upper canopy, where the light is brighter and the leaves are closer, and the forest sounds come in filtered through glass. From up here, you can see across the roofline of the clearing. You can see the jungle stretching away in every direction. You cannot see where it ends. The exterior transformation moves more slowly, and in some ways lands more dramatically. The fuselage is cleaned and treated and sealed against the ongoing humidity, not repainted back to white. The patina of age is preserved in places, worked into the design language as texture and history. New structures extend from the body of the aircraft. A deck cantilevered from the main door opening, a pool terrace built alongside where the wing root meets the fuselage, a pathway of treated hardwood that winds between the surrounding trees and connects the aircraft to the jungle in both directions. When it is finished, the 747 does not look like a house shaped like a plane. It looks like something for which no category previously existed. Something new. Something that required this particular object, in this particular place, at this particular moment in the history of design. No one talks much about the problems. The project records document them anyway, in the dry language of engineering reports and budget revisions. Structural engineers spend weeks calculating load distributions. What can be added to a fuselage designed for the specific stresses of flight, now asked to carry the static loads of permanent human habitation? The answer requires reinforcement, careful and invisible, woven into the bones of the aircraft without altering what you see from inside. The jungle adds its own complications. Humidity that degrades materials in months rather than years. Insects that move through wood and insulation with remarkable efficiency. Roots that continue their slow work regardless of what has been constructed above them. The logistics of working in a remote jungle location with a structure of this scale are difficult in ways that don't appear in the finished photographs. Materials arrive over unpaved roads that become impassable in heavy rain. Some equipment has to be carried in by hand through sections of the access path that vehicles cannot reach. Every pipe, every conduit, every fitting for the climate control and water and electrical systems must be designed specifically for this project. Nothing manufactured for residential use fits the particular geometry of a commercial fuselage. The work takes longer than the original timeline. It costs more than the original budget. It tests the patience and the confidence of everyone involved. This is the part of transformation that the final images cannot contain. Water is a problem that never fully resolves. The jungle receives rainfall measured in meters per year, not centimeters. It falls hard and fast and finds every gap. The original fuselage skin, designed to be pressurized from inside and always moving through dry air at altitude, now sits stationary in saturated air and receives rain from above. The sealing process alone takes weeks, working methodically from the nose back, testing each section before moving to the next, finding and addressing the places where the structure's original design never anticipated standing water. A roof structure is eventually added over the central section of the fuselage, subtle, almost invisible from the ground, that channels the heaviest rainfall away from the most vulnerable sections of the skin. There is something worth sitting with, quietly, before the reveal. This aircraft was built with one purpose: to carry people, to lift human beings out of the ordinary geography of their lives and move them, rapidly and safely, to somewhere else. Its entire design intelligence was organized around that function. The seat configurations, the galley layouts, the emergency systems, the pressurization, the aerodynamic form. And now it does something opposite. Now it holds people in one place. Now it asks them to be still, to remain, to pay attention to the green world pressing in through the glass, to the quality of the light at different hours, to the sounds of a forest that has been here for centuries and will be here long after. The machine that traveled at 900 kilometers per hour now asks you to sit quietly and feel where you are. The jungle, for its part, is unconcerned with any of this. The trees at the edge of the cleared area have already begun, slowly, to advance back toward the structure. Vines are already probing the new decking for purchase, finding the gap between boards where they can anchor a tendril and begin. The aircraft will require maintenance, consistent, attentive maintenance, to remain as it is now. Without it, the jungle would begin again its patient work of absorption, and in time the structure would become what it was when the project team first arrived: a shape in the vegetation, a rumor of something large beneath the canopy. This is the ongoing negotiation at the heart of every structure built in the tropics. Not ownership, not victory. Negotiation. There are people who will stay in this space, and who will wake in the morning in a bed positioned where airline passengers once slept sitting upright, and who will lie still for a moment before rising, listening. The sounds of the jungle are fully present even here. Insects, birds, the low structural sound of a living forest breathing. And they will look up at the ceiling of a Boeing 747, and something will occur to them that they will not quite be able to put into words. Something about movement and stillness. Something about what we build and what we abandon and what survives us. Something about what a thing becomes when you refuse to let it be finished. Some of them will walk to the cockpit in the morning before breakfast, while the light is still low and the jungle is still waking. They will sit in the captain's seat, because it is there, because the project kept it, and they will look out through the windscreen at the trees. They will rest their hands on the throttle quadrant, which is there, cold and inert, going nowhere. And they will understand something that is difficult to articulate, that the most interesting journeys are sometimes the ones that end in stillness. That arriving, really arriving, fully present in a place, might require exactly this: a machine built for movement, finally at rest. The people who left this aircraft here, whoever they were, whatever their reasons, made a decision about value. They looked at this machine and performed a calculation. The cost of maintaining it, of returning it to use, of dealing with what it was, exceeded whatever it was worth to them. And so they left it. The people who transformed it made a different calculation. They looked at the same object and found a different set of numbers. Both groups were responding rationally to what they saw. They simply asked different questions of the same thing. We are in a particular moment in architecture and design when the line between ruin and resource has become genuinely unstable. What one decade discards, the next decade mines for meaning. Industrial buildings become galleries. Water towers become apartments. Factories become hotels. And now, at the edge of what can be imagined, a Boeing 747 becomes the kind of home that people travel across continents to spend a single night inside. It required years of abandonment to arrive here. It required the jungle's patient, indifferent work of softening. And it required someone to walk through the undergrowth one morning, see the shape in the shadow, and ask the simplest possible question: what are you becoming? If this space has something to ask you, and perhaps it does, in the particular quality of stillness it holds between the metal ribs of a fuselage and the glass and the green outside, it is probably this: what have you written off that isn't finished yet? What are you looking at and seeing only what it was, when the real question it's holding is what it could still be? Leave your answer below. And if there's another forgotten structure, another impossible transformation that belongs in this series, tell us. We'll go find it.